Hello, welcome everybody to the FRS Community Channel. PC Division 1 is still running on Motorsports, so I'm sure some of you will funnel in as that gets done with its later finish thanks to the red flag. But we are just about getting ready to kick off the final race of what is essentially day 2 because of the PC Division Reserve race yesterday. But the last of the Saturday running, we are coming here with PC Division 4 in Spain. And I am joined today by my Xbox compatriot, even though he has now jumped and has it on PC and PlayStation and is just an absolute renaissance man of gaming, Mr. AWD Turbo Guy. How you doing, man?
Very good, thank you. I'm happy to be along, and I'm super excited for the new season, new drivers, new game, new handling model, just all around excitement, and it's been just awesome seeing it build up in the community.
Yeah, a few less divisions than we had last season. I guess technically one less PC because we do have the Reserve division, and then one less on each of the Xbox and PlayStations, but lots of people slotting into Reserve. People going back to school, new game, trying to get it right away. Expected to have a little bit fewer numbers, but definitely still plenty of good competition we're expecting, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see full lobbies too, because even in Season 5 when we had more divisions, but the attendance seemed to flutter out. But I think with the PC Reserve race that we have, and just we have all these different Reserve divisions that we'll be able to shove in more drivers if we need it, and it worked out over on Xbox, had a full grid, and it looks like we have about 15 drivers today in PC4, so I always love a good packed grid. It makes for a very exciting race to watch.
Yeah, definitely plenty of action to hopefully keep you all on track, as the PC Division 4 does it a little bit differently than others. They have a practice session that they're going to check their setups in, so we'll get you guys to that shortly. But Season 6, thick and fast calendar. I mean, 10 races in 11 weekends is the way it's set up. So only that one break week, and hopefully we're hoping that after we found out last season we had 2 weeks off in a row, a double break week, and that really a lot of people didn't come back after that. We went the complete opposite direction. And how do you think is that gonna be good or bad for the numbers, you think?
I think it'll be really good for the numbers. I know that people kind of tend to forget if it's not fresh in their mind and everything. So hopefully that having them back to back won't lead to attendance drop off, and with it being a new game too, I think that we don't have to worry about any kind of burnout occurring from really pushing it and racing every single weekend. And it makes it pretty exciting too, because you're only given a week to learn the track and practice and prep for it and get to know your opponent's pace. So and with it being a new game, they're rolling out new patches and updates and stuff. So yeah, it'll be good for the attendance.
Yeah, I was gonna say the new handling models, as you mentioned them, and you know, we even had the 107 patch come out just today, I believe, and so there's only slight adjustments to the braking system in that one, but it definitely is, you know, it's a little bit something different to have to learn. So we'll see how people get on with that change. The 106 patch threw a lot of people's original setups into just complete disarray because they changed the entire handling. I do think, though, it's a step in the right direction. The original setups were very understeering. You had to run very stiff front ends, and they got more understeering with the patch, but I think that it just had to deal with changing the setups, and I feel like the cars drive a bit better now. Have you spent much time turning laps?
I haven't with the new handling model. With the old handling model, it definitely was it was a lot more different than last season. And yeah, that braking was on the original handling model that they rolled out. It seemed like you had to stop a lot earlier, but when I was watching and commentating on the Xbox race, I found that everybody was picking very different braking points throughout. So I'm excited to see that happen. And yeah, I know that the people were complaining about extra understeer, but it seemed like the cars are a lot more stable, especially for those trying to learn no traction control. I know that people were praising how much easier the cars are to drive without traction control. So I'm excited to see it again on the PC side of things and how people are getting used to it.
Yeah, most definitely. And a thing that we haven't really had to deal with in the previous 5 seasons that we're seeing now in the new game. Of course, F1 went to these 18-inch rims, so the more narrow tread to them, but also tire blankets come down to only 70 degrees Celsius, which is well outside the operating window. So we're seeing drivers having to pick and choose strategy on tire warm-up now as well. I mean, having just ran the Xbox race, coming out on a set of hards, you didn't get into ideal temperatures until you were past turn 9. So there's more opportunity for people to make mistakes.
Yeah, and along with that new tire sizing rule and tight tires, and you have the whole being able to free choice of tire for everybody up and down the grid. And it seems like both in real life and in the game, the softs just are not a viable race tire anymore. I think 2 drivers in the Xbox race even thought about touching the softs, and they didn't really end up doing too great. So it'll be interesting to see the strategies that people change now, and I'd imagine it's just going to be a lot of mediums and hards, but I think it'll be important for reacting to people coming into the pits and making sure that you're guessing which tires everybody else is on, so that you have the same tire when you go out to start, because you don't want to be set up on an alternate strategy, as it didn't really work well for those who opted for that alternate strategy.
All right, they're just about loading in, so we're going to go ahead and roll the intro, and we'll talk about those tires as well, just a little bit more. Come on. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody, and welcome back to FRS. We are here in Season 6. PC Division 4 is taking their first visit of the season to Barcelona. It's the first time the FRS has returned to Spain since Season 3, and it's only the second visit that we've made. Here's a take a look at the track there. 4.6 kilometers around, 2 DRS zones, really long front straights. That's going to be an important position to attack. 16 corners. And of course, it's a bit of a tight and twisty, almost testing style circuit, but at 579 meters, it has the longest run from pole position to turn 1 of the FRS season. So look for drivers to be sorting out their positions down into that first of the big action zones, turn 1. Of course, it switches back turn 1, turn 2, and then into turn 3, creates that switchback action that can create a lot of incidents if you're not careful. And then the second bit of action zone, down the second DR straight, the reprofiled turn 10. Not that super heavy stop and sharp hairpin. It's a little bit more of a sweeper. We'll see how the drivers get on with attacking there, and we'll take a look at the tires. The soft, medium, and hard, about 0.7 of a lap slower on the mediums, 1.4 a lap slower than the softs on the hards, but the lights, the softs only good for 10 laps about max. Mediums can go about 21, hards about 26. We may see some drivers stretch them just a little bit further. But now let's get over into the action as drivers are just now getting on their outlap. Oh, Bobby Digital is into the wall there, getting the power down, the first retirement of this qualifying session, as we were just right on screen with him there. Sorry to cut you off there, but he just put it right in the wall, and that could be an issue for other drivers on laps. Yeah, we're taking a look at some of the other drivers. Zhao we're on board with here. You see that red on the track map, meaning an invalidation there. Of course, with Spain, there's some areas to run wide on the track there, and of course, Static Raider is going to set the first lap time, but very quickly beaten by Delta. These times not quite representative, I would say, just yet. Probably should see down for PC Division 4. What do you think? Down into the mid-high 17s? Yep, and of course the standard FRS format, we have this 18-minute qualifying session, so just the one qualifying session to set your best time out there, and then we're on to a 50% distance race. And, you know, tire strategy is going to be interesting around here, considering the warm-ups. I think the pit lane may be a little bit long for the two-stop strategy, but the softs are quite rapid compared to the hard compound tire. And if you can get a setup that works well with it, you know, you may be able to make up that gap, although it's risky. Yeah, the soft tire, if you really stretch it out, you can get it to about 11 laps, but you really kind of hit that crossover point even with the hard compound tire I found in testing down around lap 7 or 8. Like, it really degrades quickly. The hard tire is almost governing your lap time based on your fuel burn. Basically, from whenever you put it on to the end of its, 25 lap life, I found that you pretty much were able to maintain the same lap time with it. I'm just trying to find somebody who is on an actual lap. See a few people warming up. It looks like John Lemon is just launching himself down into turn 1. The light is not blinking on the rear of the car, so it looks like he's going to be on a hot lap. So let's jump on board with him. Oh, and that is a thing that can happen now. It looks like the AI has gotten him off of that curbing, but unfortunately he is going to be starting this race from the back of the grid because of that DSQ. Now, we did mention to the drivers that if you do end up beached, you are free to use the reset to track function. It's the only opportunity that you can. So I just make a quick adjustment to the audio, but might have been caught up in the moment, forgot about it, and there he has it at the back. Bobby Digital, of course, another driver who did not set a lap time, crashing out, but still 4 drivers have yet to set a valid lap time as we're getting close to the midway point of this session. Stolen Valor, John Lemon, Zhao, and Oba Mendes. Yeah, I mean, like we were saying in the intro, it's the longest run down from the grid boxes to turn 1. So there's plenty of opportunity, even if you're in the back. If you can get just a good launch off the line, start slipstreaming, you can make up a couple of positions on your way into turn 1. As Oba Mendes trying to set his lap, that tricky turn 9. You know, the setups we found, turn 3, turn 9, the rear end can get very light if you're not comfortable. I mean, in the 2021 and 2020 or 2020 cars, you often saw, turn 3 here, easy flat, turn 9, just a little lift. And, you're kind of having to, even in qualifying, unless you have the setup absolutely right on the rear end of the car, really have to kind of dial out a little bit of throttle in turn 3 and maximize, the momentum. Yeah, you mentioned the reprofiled turn 10. That's a very good point. It used to be a very sharp hairpin where you brake, you rotate the car, and then you can kind of point and shoot in a straight line. Now it's this, you brake in a similar spot about the 100-meter board, but it's this sweeper that you're trying to get the throttle on all the way around. You see Stolen Valor making a very good run through there. But it just, if you're a little bit too greedy on the throttle, you can just get that little bit of oversteer. Sal finally sets a valid lap time. He is the first into the 118s, a 118.5. So we will see if Stolen Valor is going to be able to respond out of the flat-out right-hander. Here he comes up across the line. Just goes shy, 19.0. So Xiao's still the only one in the 18s, but still 8.5 minutes left to go in this session. We should have just about enough time for drivers to come in, make that tire change, and go for that one final run when the track really rubbers in at the tail end of the session. Yeah, it's definitely a gamble. It feels like in this game, and now I don't have any numbers to back it up just yet, but it feels like the track evolution in those last 5 minutes of a qualifying session are a little stronger this year than in years previous. So you're not totally out of it if you haven't set a decent banker. So you may just see those times really tumble. If, provisional pole right now on the 18.5, I think you're on about right. About the low 18s, high 17s, we may see somebody dip into there for that that final pole position. We'll see if we can find somebody on a lap. Not a Weeaboo, not on a lap. He's got those flashing red lights. Peter Ward up behind his teammate Renovatio. He looks to be on a lap though, and he's gonna get blocked by his own teammate, it looks like. Oh no. You just think about how much time he probably lost in that final sector, and as a Mercedes driver myself, I feel a little pained seeing that happen. But we'll see. It looks like Delta has wound up in the Red Bull to go for a lap, coming out of an invalidated out lap, and we'll jump on board. We'll see how he handles. You can kind of get on the curb on that turn 2, but you really have to commit to doing it, really trying to get the throttle down. It seems a little tentative getting the power down. I'm sure Delta is one of our FRS rookies, so we're still trying to see what kind of pace they are going to bring, and they're also getting used to how it goes. But finding their brake marker just above that little hump into turn 5 there, now shooting it down the hill where I put it on this right side sausage curb at the start of our race and did a nice Tony Hawk style 50-50 grind. But that's one of those curves you really have to look out for. Through turn 9, now he's gone a little wide. He's managed to lift out of it and keep the lap valid. So the timer was satisfied that he did not gain any time, but just really struggling to keep it on the track. Oh, and big snap on the throttle there. Now we may have to ask him in the between race segment, but the way his steering wheel was moving, it seemed like he may be taking after the classic like $100 and being a keyboard warrior. Uh-huh. Yeah, and while we were doing that, Squid's improved by about a half second. He's up into the 19.4s and provisionally sitting P5 in the McLaren. Still have just the one driver, Oba Mendez, who has yet to set a valid lap time. Obviously, Bobby Digital not going to get his chance, nor is Static Raider starting at the back of the grid. But Oba Mendez in the pits. So we'll see when they come out. It looks like John Lemon is about to start a lap, so we will jump on board with him as he rockets his way down to turn 1. See where he picks up that braking. Usually that access road is about the braking spot you want to find in. Turn it in. He's going to avoid using the curb on turn 2. Turn 3, just waiting to get the throttle down. You're not able to go there, and now starting to wind it up, open up the corner. Just under the gantry there. Turn 4, rotate. You can really start, if you can find the right spot on the track in the camber, get on the throttle early. Now, downhill braking a little wide, and not quite using all the track on the exit there. We'll see how they handle probably some of the trickiest combinations here. That left, right, and then of course turn 9 at the top of the hill. It's just 3 solid opportunities to lose the car all in a row. Oh, snap of oversteer out of the corner there. He was about 6/10 up on his previous best lap through Sector 2, but that LG, not an improvement. Must have really nailed Sector 3 for himself the last time through, but this time not quite getting it. We'll find Oba Mendez, who is the only one who has yet to set a valid lap time. He's about to make his way through the Mickey Mouse chicane at the end. We'll see if he was able to get the throttle down safely. Making stabs at the steering wheel. Don't know if that's another keyboard or controller kind of thing. You would expect somebody on wheel would probably be a little smoother. Oh, and Oba Mendez way off the road in turn 3 there. Still valid, but it looks like they have backed out of this one. Yeah, the rear lights are on now. So they are coming in. Stashes coming through. We'll jump on board with them as they are about to hit the second sector split. As you said, trying to clear that cork in the bottle of John Lemon. Lost a 1.5 seconds. About a minute left to go, depending on, and we'll take a look at their telemetry. Yeah, there's no battery really left to do a push lap, so doesn't look like they are going to improve. We'll see. Renovatio up about a 1/10 on their first sector time, so they are on a flyer now. Need to find about a second in order to take over that provisional pole. They're the highest one up on a flying lap right now, as Stolen Valor, Peter Ward, Squids all on out laps, so they should be getting started relatively soon. But as he comes up the hill to turn 9, keeps it nice and tidy through there, inside the track boundaries there, and we'll see where he's at that sector 2 split. 1.3 seconds of improvement. He is getting down to the low 18s if he can just match his previous final sector. And with that extra grip you get in this, bit of track evolution, should be able to find maybe a couple attempts, could be down into the 17s. Very good run from there in order to jump, not quite into the 17s, but we'll jump on with Squids next, who is next one on a flying lap. Peter Ward started a flying lap just behind them, as has Stolen Valor, so we'll switch to those two next, should anybody get out of the way. But the top of the tables getting their last laps in. These are going to be the last ones completing their flyers. Chronicle's a little way up the road, coming through turn 10 now. We'll see if the Aston Martin can make any kind of a jump. And we'll see what Squids can do. I didn't actually pay attention and see what his Sector 1 offset was. Oh, an invalid. Interesting, he's got that rear light flashing. He's very low on the battery. That may hurt him in the last little sector here. So we'll see if he's able to. If there's any sector, though, to not have battery, it's in this third sector where you're really not accelerating too hard until you hit this final corner. You should have just about enough battery to get across the line. We'll see if he's going to find the improvement to get up near the front. He does improve by 0.6, and that puts him P3 provisionally. We'll take a look as Stolen Valor's next through. Stolen Valor off the pace. He's backed out of his lap and is into the pit lanes, and that is going to be it for this qualifying session. Renovatio takes pole position ahead of Zhao. Peter Ward makes it a Mercedes 1-3. Stolen Valor, the top Ferrari in P4, ahead of the Red Bull of Nada Wiabu. Squids, Delta the Hunter, Stashes, John Lemon, and Chronicle round out your top 10 as Cypher, Fuzzy Panda, and Oba Mendez round out the drivers who finished their laps. Yep, 33 lap race, at least one, maybe two pit stops, considering the number of cars that we saw make mistakes in this qualifying session. I would say safety cars are highly likely in PC Division 4 this week as well. Indeed, yeah, it could be that they are just out of position. It looks like, as we're loading in, a little bit overcast skies. Not raining just yet, but the possibility is there. Spain, the other European nation. The one where we're at now. I don't know why France was on the brain. Probably because of all the Alpine and Oscar Piastri stuff going on. Silly season is already the silliest I've seen in quite some time. Yeah, it's taking a little bit of time to load in. There we go. Now there's no formation lap for PC. They've had some issues with tire warm-up, so everybody off the line now. And oh, there's some serious cold tires going on as people are just edging their way through. Renovatio's gotten away well. Stolen Valor up the inside of Peter Ward as they fight their way in. Peter Ward's going to have the inside as it switches, and you know, one thing that's important is he runs across, and Chronicle is out. A DNF already, and that is going to be a safety car already. So right off the bat, a safety car is called. A tough start for Chronicle further down the order there. And of course, in the new game, and with the new rules, as it was VSC is actually what it was. It wasn't even a full safety car, so it looks like we are back to racing. Renovatio, though, has picked up a penalty for speeding under the VSC. That's going to be a drive-through. But what we usually get to talk about on the formation lap is tire choice. Everybody gets to pick their own tires, and two drivers opting for those soft rubber early on. That may help with some early warm-up, but it's going to make for a tougher race strategy, as we'll see the fastest lap go tumbling down, as you always see after a VSC, as everybody goes quicker and quicker. Squids is into the pit lane. Oh, and Squids is out of this session. It looks like he has opted to retire in the pit lane. John Lemon is out as well. So. Mhm.
Red flag from stashes now, so I think it's safe to say that we are going to see a red flag here, and we will be restarting the race.
Yes. Well, in all fairness, so I'm gonna. I forgot to unmute you after the waffle bit. So I didn't get that ping until just now. Well, it was only 2 minutes ago. But it
was only 2 minutes ago. Yeah, but
probably didn't hear you for all of quality.
Okay, yeah. Basically, I was yeah. So for those who missed it, I was monitoring the chat, and you saw some people leave, you saw some people retire, then some people come back in and stuff because Stash had called a red flag earlier, but then he was able to get back in once he rebooted the game, and so. But now it is official. We are doing we are red flagging this race, so we will be restarting. And as a matter of fact, I think that there are new red flag rules that you guys have written for this. So how is this going to work out for us?
Well, I'll have to pull them up. I don't recall them off the top of my head. Usually this early in a race, it's just a basic restart within the first 2 laps. Of course, we got to get everybody out of the thread and into the red flag. I mean, Stashis still appears to be circulating on track. No, he's ghosted, so he has left that lobby. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw up just this waiting screen because this apparently doesn't. It's not important anymore. So message going, red flag confirmed. So we'll get that all sorted out as we get to deal with the lovely Cody's things.
Oh yes, we saw PC1. I mean, at least I didn't see PC1 being red flagged, but their stream was still going by the time we were booting up this one, and so this is yet another red flag for us. But I don't believe the PC reserve race. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe the PC reserve race was red flags. So they had some good luck, and I think this is just some unfortunate game crashes. It just kind of seems to be a lottery, luck of the draw as to who gets game crashes, who doesn't. And even we saw it on the over on the Xbox side, we saw some people having some bugs still. So it's a new game, and as much as we like to say Cody's does a bad job and whatnot, I mean, got to keep in mind that they probably don't like having to deal with these bugs themselves either. So just kind of pain all around, but we're making the most of it while we can.
Yep, and pulling up the red flag rules as we get that stuff sorted out. It is indeed, with less than 3 laps completed, just a complete restart with the grid order. Of course,
Okay.
we did add this season a 2-hour time limit to the race weekends, so to try and prevent some of those overruns, and it'll be kind of up to the coordinators to judge that time. They may have to do just a 25% race distance because of it. But I think
Yeah.
it's safe for me to leave this lobby on my end, and we're off to a shambolic start. I forgot to unmute you. Shambles into on the grid. Shambles into turn 1. Red flag. We're firing on all cylinders today.
It's the true FRS way. I am happy about it. Others might not be happy about it, but man, especially in these divisions, the shambles are sometimes what we come to watch for. So it's a good start for PC4, and I hope others are possibly enjoying it. Although maybe after a couple more red flag races later on in the season, we won't be enjoying it as much. So
yeah, and we'll have to see and make sure people are paying attention, because some of the drivers seem to still be circulating when I left the lobby there, and may not have gotten the message that it was red flagged. And unfortunately, we can't delay too long. We did see it happen last season with Pinchero, who, after everybody left, he was the only driver who did not leave the original lobby after the red flag was called. And about 10 laps into the new lobby, saw all the red flag messages, and unfortunately was out of that race. So it's important that people keep a hand on Discord so they can keep an eye out for these race control messages.
Yep. I think we're trying to figure out who's going to be hosting the new lobby, because I think Stash has offered that somebody else could host it, as I think this group here seems to be a lot of European based drivers, so Stash is being over here on the other side of the world in the US might not be the best host for it, but we'll see. One interesting thing that I just read in the red flag running is that the weather will be set to random weather, so they will not be guaranteed that overcast that we saw and dry. So there still is a potential for a very wet race start, and that's very exciting.
Yeah, could be right back. I mean, we saw the overcast settings there, and we didn't get a chance to see if it was going to develop into a rainy race, but there, of course, is always the opportunity for it. And we'll have to see what it comes now. Of course, I'd say the odds of rain in Spain are less than some of the other tracks like Brazil or France, but it's definitely higher than ones like Baku, which we unfortunately got to drive last season in absolutely wet.
Yeah, we're still trying to get stuff sorted out, but yeah, hopefully we'll get it back up and running, and I'm at a loss for words right now. I think Stash is just kind of struggling to figure out who's still going and who we need to reach out to restart the new lobby, but I think we should just probably just send out invites. And from Stash is the coordinator, probably be able to that would be a good way to let people know. But anyways, that's kind of besides the point. There's not much to really talk about besides the qualifying session, which even then, I like I mentioned earlier, I don't think that we saw true representative pace from these drivers, with some compromised flying laps, and we only got about half of a lap before the red flag was called. So yeah, there's just, I guess we can only talk about Codemasters and the struggles that I think all kinds of leagues have been facing. But I think the admins have been handling it pretty well so far. And I'm just excited to see cars back out on track.
Yeah, it's definitely been a struggle with some of the bugs and stuff, but we are back to racing, and I enjoy it. And even though I had a lovely Spinata to start off my season here, it wasn't the best race, especially when I had one of my better qualifying performances. And just kind of threw it away, but it was good to be on track, good to be competing once again. The FRS Cup was fun. We got a little bit of short running in the 2022 game, but that was before some of the handling patches, and now we're really kind of getting drivers dialing it in and putting in the time for strategies. The team's championship, I think, is going to be even bigger this season than it was last. Lots of chat going on across at least Mercedes, as far as I've seen in the team that I'm in. I don't know about yourself.
Yeah, there's been we're still kind of sorting out over in Haas as to who the TP is going to be, because we know that Herring's was pulling double duty as a Mercedes team principal and a Haas team principal, but fully committing to the Mercedes team now. So we're still sorting it out, and I don't think we have a full team principal yet, but I still vote that we have Dog, also known as Stone, that he just takes over the team principal role, because I think I'd be honored to drive for him and his team.
Dog, one of the career leaders in FRS DNFs, so definitely an interesting one. But calendar coming up, like we were talking in the pre-show, thick and fast. We've got obviously Spain this weekend. We've still got several divisions running tomorrow. I believe it is we've got PC Division 2 and 3 and PlayStation Division 1 all run on Sundays, if I'm not mistaken. But we've got Spa-Francorchamps coming up next. which is always a fantastic race. And we'll see. Apparently, the 0-0 wing strat is a thing in this game, so we'll see who is going to dare to run that and essentially be the 2019 Ferrari, while other people use wing and try and get by in the middle sector. But then we've got, Coda coming up, which has been off the calendar for a couple of seasons, and that one's coming back. So I'm looking forward to driving. You and I, we have 2 home races this season, which is
yes,
pretty fun in my book.
Yeah, and it's the new track of Miami, which a lot of people have mixed feelings over, but I certainly like it. I love the corniness of it, of the real life race and all that. But I'm happy to have 2 races, and who knows, we might even see in season 9 possibly a 3rd American race over in Las Vegas. So very exciting. And I think another kind of interesting aspect is that it feels like the ERS has kind of been nerfed a little bit, in that it's a little bit harder to regen your battery. And I think we saw some of that, some of the people running below 10% as they were coming through the final chicane during qualifying. So that's also something else that people are going to have to kind of relearn and recalibrate to.
Absolutely, yeah. In some of my testing to get ready for this week's race, I noticed that regen is only about 9% around a lap. If you don't use the overtake at all here in Spain, you only get about 9% back. And if you deploy all the way down the full DRS straight of the front straight, you burn almost 30% of the battery. So one big attack is going to cost you 3-4 laps to try and get that battery recharged if it doesn't come off. So you really got to try and play the games, get the car in front of you to burn their battery, and then use yours when they've used up theirs, and vice versa. So we may see some interesting back and forth battling with the drivers as they try and use their brains to make the overtakes, as opposed to just the raw speed.
Yeah, that's another reason why I'm just excited for this season, is that it's a new game, new handling model, everything's different, so it kind of evens the playing field. Everybody has to kind of relearn the game, and it kind of knocks everybody back, and everybody starts out on even footing. So it kind of shakes things up a little bit up and down the field.
Absolutely. And yeah, some of the other as the calendar's coming back up once again, some of the other tracks, we on the signups took surveys of everybody's favorite tracks, and we split the track or the calendar. Half of them were top choices, and the other half were admin picks. But so you see, Austria is on the list there, of course, one of the top vote getters. Spa was one of the community picks as well, as is Australia. So people were definitely interested in the new layout. So another track that's seeing a new layout, as was Abu Dhabi was on the list. So people seem to be interested in these new layouts. Miami, and then of course the admins, we've put Hungary on the list, which has been only around one time and is definitely an interesting track to race. Was definitely a great real life race the other week. So we'll see how people can battle in that one, as it looks like we're just about close to ready. Seems like in the thread, so we should be getting back to racing fairly shortly. But of course, calendar finishes in Brazil, as you would expect. And one of the other reasons for this this tightened calendar is, if you notice, the last race weekend is the week before F1 makes their America's swing. So Austin, Mexico, Brazil, where we would essentially have had 3 weeks with the real life races clashing at direct times with usual FRS scheduling. So instead of having those 3 weeks off to go and finish one more round, we tightened everything up, kind of squeezed it all in. And I think that's a good way to run it. We are going to have some adjustments to the way the calendars lay out in the coming year. We're going to get those kind of synced with, of course, our FRS sim side that runs a GT series, touring cars. So that way we're stepping on each other's toes less, giving each other kind of special occasions. Of course, we are planning on running special event leagues, kind of like we did with the FRS Cup, for people that don't run in ACC and other sim titles. So there's still going to be plenty of F1 action available to you And of course, we're taking late signups for this season as reserve roles. The FRS Discord, so discord.gg/FRS Racing. You can sign up there if you are not a part of the Discord. You can get a peek behind the curtain as well and get yourself on the track.
Yeah, I would highly recommend at least just join the community. I mean, there's more to it than just the racing, and I mean, we're obviously a bit frustrated with the bugs that we've had in this game, as you can see, currently waiting and whatnot. But yeah, it's a great group of people just to talk with about Formula One and life in general. So if you don't want to join for the racing, at least join for the community.
So how are we looking in the thread here?
I'm just going through, looking at it. Looks like we're good with the different settings. See the weekend structure set right. We've got a custom grid going.
It looks like
dynamic
we've got
weather.
15 drivers in. Is there any standouts that we didn't notice? Stashes just needs to select his car. So he'll be the 16th driver on the grid, and I believe that's everyone.
Yep.
Oh, no, Stash is saying Delta is missing. I believe I saw them in the thread saying that they did get the message that the race was red flagged. I'm just going to see if that is the case.
Yeah, it looks like he's joining now, so
yep,
we should be good. And other good news as well is that since we have a new 2-hour time limit, we started at 3:30 my local time here. We still have over an hour and 15 minutes to get this wrapped up, so we should surely be able to get a full race in and not have to end it too early with the time limit rule. So, and I think everybody in here would be happy to see it all the way to the end. Excuse me, all the way to the end as well.
Yep, typical, 33 laps, typical race lap, I would say, for Division 4. If their qualifying pace was roughly, ended up being about a second and a half off of the Xbox pace, we would expect race pace to be a similar gap. So people turning laps in the 23s, 24s kind of ballpark. And if we can avoid too many more safety cars, then we might be able to just about fit it in like 45 minutes.
Yeah, and another fact that I forgot about, and we even talked about it earlier, is the possibility of rain. Although, like you said, it's not as much as it would be as other European countries, but the possibility of rain might make this race just a little bit longer and pushing it to the cusp of that 2-hour time limit. And of course, I think there's just inevitable safety cars for wet weather racing, especially in divs like this.
Yep.
So, looks like we're about ready to go.
Just rather, and it took so long, it totally ran through the entire hold screen.
Woo!
I used that whole thing up.
That's a 16-minute screen, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure is. Let's go ahead and just hit that button again. I thought I had it already set for running on its own, but apparently I need to make next week's a little bit longer in case. Once again, there will be no formation laps, so we will be getting underway right away. Although drivers do need to set their strategies and, most importantly, reload their setups. There's nothing more unfortunate and something I've done at least one time than forgetting your setup. And that's part of my thing, is my home race curse. I've typically never finished well at Circuit of the Americas, and as excited as I am to have 2 USA tracks on this season, I think I might be doomed. One of the USA incidents was I forgot to load a setup after a relobby, and I had to drive, and I spun in a spot where I normally would never spin, but I spun because of it, and then I was like, not great. We did run
I can imagine.
Miami in the FRS Cup, though. I had a good time running that track there. The little Mickey Mouse bit in the second sector is a little tough, but I think they could clean that up. But the rest of the track I actually do enjoy, personally. I am a fan.
I think it's a good track, too. I think it's similar to Jeddah. I get similar Jeddah feels to it. Not as, I guess, not spoon curvy, but flowy curvy and stuff. There's more hard braking points in it, but there's just enough width on the track to be able to do some overtaking, but at the same time it feels like you're always on edge with the walls being pretty close.
And somebody has hit go right away, so people better hope that their setups are in a very easily reachable position. So the shambles continue.
It's really kicked off. And yeah, looking at the weather too, I don't know if we're looking at the screen or not on the stream, but it's even clearer than it was.
Yep. We are now, as we are about to get underway as the last cars. We have the 5 red lights up. We will see as the lights go out who is going to get the decent start. It looks like Renovation has gotten away decently, but this sideways is Zhao there. He's now facing the entire wrong way. Stolen Valor has gotten into the lead. Peter Ward diving up the inside of his teammate in contact, and he goes around. He's going to drop down the field as there's more cars sideways, backwards. Aston Martin is around. Chronicle, honestly, probably happy with this one because last time he was completely out of the race. This time just spun around. Unfortunately, he's facing the wrong way, but he is still in this race. We'll jump up back to the front as Naduyabu's having a look down the inside of Squids. Cutting across, Squids goes to cover the line. There's some yellow flags still just behind. I believe that is just some of this static radar coming through, but Stolen Valor has taken the lead off of Renovation into turn 1 as Business Monkey has dropped a few positions now through turn 6 and or 7 and 8, and looks like things might be starting to calm down. Oba Mendez right on the gearbox of the Haas in front of them, less than the 2/10 there. Peter Ward in the Mercedes going to try and make up some. Looks like he's going to have a bit of a dive up the inside. No, he's backed out of it. Oba Mendez though scything up the inside ahead, just past Fuzzy Panda and Bobby Digital.
So Bobby Digital
right on the move. Bobby Digital making big moves, and from the start of this race here, Digital up 6 positions. Oba Mendez up 6 positions. And somebody's around at the back there. Who is that? That is Cypher dropping back.
He went round and collected some. He collected some other drivers with him when that happened, but thankfully it looked like everybody else made it through somewhat clean. He just a little bit upset their cars, but they were able to recover nicely as Peter Ward now heads into the pits for a front wing change. Possibly, it looks like. No, just.
Sorry, I had
just a tire change.
Apologies for the quick controller disconnection. Turns out that if you have a controller plugged in, even if you are a spectator, it rumbles.
Yes, and it rumbles very aggressively too here.
I was wondering what is that noise until I looked over and saw my controller about to walk its way completely off of my desk. Well, let's jump up to the lead battle. Stolen Valor ahead of Renovatio by about a half a second there. Business Monkey disconnected from the session. We'll see if he is able to reconnect. It says he's frozen, so he should be able to. Oba Mendez is out of turn 9. He is DNF'd into the wall there. We'll see if we can get a shot of him as John Lemon comes through. Full course yellow. We will see, is that a VSC or a full safety car? Just waiting for it to clear because they put the Sector 1, Sector 2, Sector 3.
I see a safety car popping out.
Yes, I see the yellow dot on the track. Now, is anybody at the front? Stolen Valor's into the pit lane. He's going to take that early stop. Getting off of those soft tires. Stolen Valor, Cypher, Zhao, and Business Monkey, the only ones to opt for those soft tires. Peter Ward on the hards already, having had made that early stop after hitting the side of his teammate there. So looks like only a couple drivers taking the cheap pit stop. Stolen Valor, Fuzzy Panda in. Everybody else staying out. It's a long way. Typically, the hards can go about 27 laps or so. Right now they've got to do 30. Renovation.
Oh no, our race leader. Oh my, is that another bug that we just seen? As I didn't see him doing anything wrong. He was our race leader. He was staying behind the safety car. He shouldn't have been disqualified for anything that I could think of.
We may have another bug, another red flag issue here.
And
Although,
man,
with safety car issues like that, it typically requires more than just one driver being affected by it for a red flag to actually be called.
yeah. And yeah, I was going to say too, I was going to point out that Renovatio had such a great start, even with having that little contact with his teammate through turns 1, 2, and 3. He was able to stick behind Stolen Valor and ended up inheriting the lead when Stolen Valor dove into the pits to get that new set of hard tires. But that's sad to see. But thankfully for his teammate, who they did have contact with, Peter Ward, now has a chance to get a fresh start on this race with it being effectively neutralized. Although, as you said, with those hard tires not being able to last to the end, and he had come in before the safety car was triggered, he's probably going to be looking at another pit stop in the future.
Yeah, I mean, only 2 drivers opting to come in and try to grab the hard tires. Now, if they do some serious tire management, and if this safety car stays out another lap or so, they just might be able to take them to the end. It gets very nip and tuck. The longest I was able to take some in a practice session was 28 laps. Before that's around when they hit the 75% mark, where you start to get in danger of punctures. But it looks like a couple other drivers into the pit lanes now. Chronicle and Peter Ward onto the soft compound tires, it looks like. Interesting decisions from them there.
And late decisions too, nonetheless. I can't remember what tire Peter Ward was originally on. I believe it was medium, so this isn't him reverting back to his original tire compound, I believe. But I think, interestingly, this might also keep the safety car possibly out even longer. Oh no, I believe they'll probably get caught up at the very end of it. But someone who has had a fantastic start is Squids. He survived through all the carnage and is now leading the race.
Yeah, managed to keep it on track, keep it out of trouble, and we'll see. Usually, the safety car in this lap message usually comes when it hits the sector timing barrier between sectors 2 and 3. So in just a little bit, we will see if that safety car is in now. And there it is, safety car in this lap. And now those 2 drivers that took that late choice, although it looks like Chronicle has spun out of turn 8 there and is way off the back. I was going to say, tire warm-up is definitely an issue in this game, and they would be arriving on the back of this train with some nice, hot, soft tires. We'll see how other drivers have handled the tire warm-up at this stage. Squids, of course, letting the safety car get away, becomes the de facto safety car. Really hasn't let it get away, and might get him into some trouble with auto braking. He's really got to back up the pack now.
Oh boy! And he's gonna.
And it
looks, he hasn't gone for it.
He hasn't gone, and he's gonna have Nadawiabu all over his gearbox. And this is absolute shambles.
That's not good.
This is
Nadawiabu is not
there, and it looks like now he's gone. It looks like he's finally got it going, and that is just not how you want to be restarting this one here. As he's down into turn 1. As Delta the Hunter has made his way up past, so we didn't have a camera angle, but we definitely saw it on the timing tower there. Has made his way up into P2. We'll take a look, and now Stasius is going to attack the Williams of Nadawiabu in front of him there. Stolen Valor moving, and it's Delta's making his way past Squid. Squid has gone deep into turn 4 there and has lost position. And now Squid's going to dive up these. Oh my, so close to contact there. Nearly a massive lunge. That could have been absolute tears if it came to that.
Yeah, we have some cars going off in the background. We have Fuzzy Panda, who I believe spun around earlier and is just still coping with hot tires. Currently struggling just to get them back down into an operable range, and this is not the sector where you want it to be, as Delta picks up the first time penalty of the race. So he made his way up
Squids
all the way into
tumbling
P1,
down.
but
Squids has made a mistake. He's lost 3 positions in just 2 corners. He's fallen behind Nadawiabu, Stashes, and Static Raider, all back to back to back.
Yeah, and Squids is really struggling now, and behind the safety car, it seemed like he really wasn't putting a lot of temperature into his tires throughout the final lap behind that safety car. So I think that's just a byproduct of him having colder tires and everybody else around him having their tires now in working range, and he is under threat of Stolen Valor now. The next car behind is, ooh, everybody in front of him is struggling a little bit now, and Static Raider losing some positions there.
Lots of mistakes being made on this one as Delta and Nadawiabu battling it out side by side. Nadawiabu got his way into the lead in turns 1 and 2, but Delta fighting back. And there's just, it's hard to pick a place to look. There's position changes all, look at the cars behind, side by side by side, just all over the place. Stolen Valor still trying to work their way back up towards the front, down 1 position, but Static Raider up 9 spots. It looks like Fuzzy Panda has gone around again out of turn 4. It's a tricky traction zone if you're trying to learn no TC in it. This may be the case as the rear end just keeps getting away. Peter Ward well off the back. Kind of got bailed out by that safety car, but mistakes early and has fallen right off the back of this one. So at this point, though, 6 laps into this 33-lap race, it's really anybody's game.
It really is, and I'm seeing a lot of good pace up and down the field. Our pole sitter, Zhao, he's been able to stick on the rear gearbox of John Lemon there, although being on the soft tires, these two guys, they need to start
around.
moving
Stashes
up the
is
field if they
around.
want to make it work.
Stashes has made a mistake in coming into the final corner out of that chicane. The DRS is now enabled, and Stolen Valor's got a great run on Squids, who looks to have burned up.
Safety car. A full safety car. I don't know what for. I really don't. I didn't see Stashes spin around, but I know I've been seeing a Fuzzy Panda roll around, but they haven't been
facing the wrong way
any damage.
Times.
He hasn't put any kind of debris on track that I've noticed that would cause a full-blown safety car. And I know that Peter Ward's been struggling, but he's been fine too. I don't know what this full safety car is for. A Fuzzy Panda picks up a 5-second time.
Oh, and Fuzzy Panda is out.
Fuzzy
Panda is out, has retired from this session.
Oh, and we are seeing some shambles going on. Yeah, we're getting that weird safety car bug where they're telling you to stop, overtake, this, that, and the other. So that's more problems, as nearly half the grid was just parked back there in P6 and below, I think. So
unfortunately, it's something that's so important to not overlap with other cars in the safety car situation. You just can't overlap other cars. It messes everything up.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if a business monkey has come back in or not, and if it was his AI kind of causing some of those problems. Well, he's basically an entire lap down. So yeah, that's just quite a start, and it's not because of Division 4. They were actually having some spectacular racing there once everybody was settled in and gotten through the start phase. There was some spectacular racing, but it's just, unfortunately, the shambles have been derived from the games that the game's known bugs.
Yeah. Well, let's hope we can. Zhao picks up speeding in the pit lane, so just continue to add more to this mess of a start to the season. And of course, we expect some of the shambles. There's plenty of rookies in this division, people getting sorted out, and of course, there's mistakes being made here and there, but they'll get it figured out over the course of this season. It just keeps everything very, very interesting.
Yeah, Squids, who we saw not have the best safety car restart, somehow manages to find himself sitting there back at the front again. Not directly at the front, but right behind Nadawiabu there. But hopefully he's learned from his not a great start at the beginning, and will maybe focus on putting some tire temperature in towards the end of this safety car once everybody's all bunched up again. But somehow he manages to make it back forward. And not sure if that's because of the different overtaking warnings that people were getting other safety cars. Don't even know if they were or not.
Because they are just revving it out.
Well,
trying to put some engine temperature in there, which you usually don't want. Typically, once you're over about 120 C, you start to lose some of that engine performance.
Yeah, this is they might be overfueled, I guess. That could be a problem too. They might have too much fuel with already having 2 safety cars within the first 8 laps. They might be thinking about, at this rate, we might be seeing the full 5 safety cars VSCs as we see Nadawiabu diving in late again and losing that position there. Gonna have to keep an eye as to what tires they end up opting for, but another strange call under safety car to dive into the pits.
Yeah, definitely
As
some interesting strategy calls. I wonder if any of these drivers have race engineers. I would doubt it, considering the strategy choices we've seen thus far, as we shouldn't see too much more time under this safety car. But
yeah, and if they do have race engineers, I'd recommend maybe finding some different ones, as that's probably not the best call to wait that late, as Squids gets really close to the safety car, almost picks up a little bit of front wing damage, but he manages to brake in time. So, yeah, very, very strange calls. We have Peter Ward on a 3-stop strategy, Zhao on 2 stops. Looks like everybody but the 2 Red Bulls, the Alpine of Static Raider, and our current race leader, Squids, have yet to make a pit stop. Everybody else having fulfilled their 1 pit stop, although with these interesting strategies, we might be seeing them coming back in later on in the race.
yeah, interesting strategies is probably the most delicate way to say this. And now, we may have commentators cursed it a little bit as safety cars called in this lap, because we said, oh, there's an hour and 15 minutes left to finish this race. No problem getting under the 2-hour time limit. Well, here we are at 9 of 33 laps. And we are, though, going back to green flag racing. And if we can stay on the track, we've seen great action during it. There's almost impossible to find a place to look when the action has been going. But Squids, once again,
I'm looking at the tire temps. I'm looking at the tire temps on his wheels, and they are not looking good. His right side, both tires in 60 degrees. His left side looking at in 60 degrees now as well. So he's going to be absolutely struggling for grip there on the safety car restart.
He's just now going. He's just now gone. It's a little better restart than last time, as it looks like Peter Ward is making up some positions further back. Delta is moving forward. And look at this absolute cluster of cars heading down to turn 1. Let's see who can find some ground as they head into the braking zones. Are they about sorted out? No, there's some contact side by side.
Oh.
And this pack is just still bunched up all together. Stash is in the middle of it. Peter Ward, Delta the Hunter, has fallen. Oh, it looks like somebody is around there, dropping off the back.
Bobby
Digital, yes. Bobby is around and off the back of this pack, and now up towards the front. John Lemon threatening for a podium position on the back of Static Raider. Only 3/10 back, and of course, with the safety car being called out once again, it's another 3 laps until the DRS is re-enabled.
Yeah, John Lemon has just been having such a cool head during this race, and it's been paying off for him as he's, like you mentioned, looking from the outside in for a possible podium. And what a great way to get the momentum going for this season, especially when we have races back to back to back. We want to keep that momentum going. So John Lemon looking pretty good right now, as is surprisingly Squids, who had those very cold tires on the restart, but he's managed to maintain his lead.
Yeah, luckily for him, it was Stolen Valor was on the hard tires behind him, and of course, if Squids isn't really going fast enough to generate heat in his tires, it's really hard for the cars behind him to generate temperature, as Squids is holding up the pack, and those hard tires are even worse to try and get temperature into. So it looks like Squids has kind of survived the warm-up period, as Nadawiabu on the soft tires is working his way through. Stashes and Peter Ward, who are both on the hard tires. No, Delta is going to try and sneak through on the mediums. It's gone around the outside of Peter Ward as he was wrong-footed from the attack as the yellow flags. Oh, around was a car. There's Cypher facing the wrong way and luckily ghosted. Otherwise, that would have been a big crash, I think.
And his teammate Delta the Hunter losing positions now as well, as he was keeping his car off track, unfortunately, and not being able to get any kind of grip or power down. So the 2 Red Bull teammates now at the back fighting for the final points paying positions, as Delta the Hunter spins round yet again.
Tough. We have Chronicle starting to close up on Zhao in front. There's a big tire offset here. Softs against the hards. However, Chronicle on 7-lap old softs has gone wide. Oh, around a Static Raider backing onto the track. Oh. That is not what you're supposed to do there. So he's gone around. Squids is still Squids has cleared DRS out front. He's got a 1.3 second advantage over Stolen Valor. John Lemon is into the podium positions, although 8 laps now on those soft tires, ticking up to 9. So they are going to start to really feel the pain. Granted, about 3 or 4 of those laps were under safety car. but DRS is enabled, and the whole front four are all just kind of spaced out from each other. We'll keep an eye on this battle here. Chronicle, Nadawiabu stashes Peter Ward, big DRS train, as it looks like Nadawiabu just seems to have the brakes measured up on Chronicle. Just not quite able to make the lunge errors. Oh, Stash, is that Stash's error?
Oh,
No, that's John
wow.
Lemon around. John Lemon running in the podium positions is spun.
Wow. And that's a very strange space. Oh, it's Nadawiabu sends it up the inside of Chronicle there out of turn 4. But yeah, there's just a weird space to kind of lose the car where John Lemon was at. Although actually, it was out of turn 3, so never mind, excuse me. Yeah, that's very unfortunate for John Lemon, who had been doing so well through this race.
Yeah, but it's still 12 of 33 laps, still, nearly 2/3 of this race left to go, and we've seen plenty go on already to start this one. There's still lots of time for the Lemon to start making their way back up through the grid. And of course, we'll have to start keeping an eye on as drivers start to pick up those track limits penalties. Delta, the only one to pick them up so far, picked them up in the early laps. Zhao, of course, has that speeding in the pit lane penalty. But we may see more people just kind of overstepping the bounds as Chronicle's gone very deep in the chicane there. That might put Stashes right inside the DRS, and they are all over the back of them now. Did they get to the detection point? Yes. The rear wing flips open. Stashes in the wheel tracks there. Using that slipstream, he's going to look inside, outside. He's going to the inside on the brakes. Side by side, a little bit of a contact there as a touch, but it looks like Stashes is just about going to sweep around the outside and take that position off of Chronicle. But Chronicle on that softer rubber, chance to re-attack.
Yeah, Stashes just got such a great run out of the final corner, and it paid off. But Chronicle is not giving up, although it looks like he's just dropping now, and Stashes is able to start building a gap to Chronicle behind. It looked like for a moment there, Chronicle is going to come back, coming out of turn 3 into turn 4. It was very close, but I think Chronicle's line was just way too compromised. Now he's down a second and a half, won't even be getting any kind of DRS assistance to kind of close that. 2 Stashes ahead of him there, unfortunately for Chronicle, but great driving from Stashes.
Yeah, he made a mistake on the way out of turn 5, and that cost him some time. Now, the next closest battle on track here, Bobby Digital on the back of Static Raider in the DRS. He's on those soft compound tires. You can see just as you're looking through the halo there, Static Raider in front on the mediums. So they should have a little bit of extra grip and has definitely closed up plenty of time into this final chicane. This is really where that mechanical grip advantage of those soft tires can really come into play. He's well within the DRS, closing up even already as they get on the throttle now. It's going to be a matter of flipping open that rear wing. The DRS is open. Chronicle's into the pit lane, so that's why he's dropping down the order. Is Bobby going to have a run? It looks like Static might be just having a little bit more straight line speed in the setup, as even though Bobby was right on the back, not able to make a move into turn 1. They're both very low on battery, though. That red light is flickering for sure.
Yeah, with this high fuel, we saw John Lemon come into the pits after doing about 10 laps on his soft tires. We saw Chronicle coming in as well, getting a new set of hard tires, being on the soft tires from the get-go. So that's something to look out for with Bobby Digital, as he's at that 6-lap mark with these soft tires. So he came in, put them on later than those guys of John Lemon and Chronicle, but we might be seeing the tire wear start to fall off. And following these cars behind, trying to stay close with them, is going to just wear those tires even more rapidly, as there's a yellow flag there, I believe, for Delta the Hunter back there, as he spun around.
And that's got John Lemon back up into 9th place, who has made a pit stop onto those hard compound tires. Out in front, though, Squid's yet to make a stop, still on his starting set of medium tires. Squids, Static Raider, and Delta the Hunter, the only 3 drivers yet to make a pit stop in this one, as we have drivers with as many as 4 stops already, and we haven't even hit the halfway mark.
Yes, it is, been quite an eventful race, as Bobby Digital has that DRS toe, and easily gets past Static Raider, but those soft tires, and he backs up Static Raider a little bit there, as Static Raider's now riding all over the curbs. But yeah, Bobby Digital might be starting to hurt from some soft tire wear here, as we're coming up to that 10-lap mark on those softs of his.
Nadawiabu's got to try and attack while he's still got a little bit of life left in those soft tires. Just about that Delta picks up a 5-second speeding in the pit lane penalty. So that will hurt their race just a little bit. But not only, yeah, we still got about 1 or 2 laps left of that that extra help that those soft tires will have over those hards. But got to try and make the move now, run away, and try and get past Zhao. However, Zhao is carrying that 5-second time penalty. So he's essentially ahead on track for what is the final podium position. But Squids, a 4-second lead out in the lead of this race, ahead of this man, Stolen Valor, on the hard compound tires, 8 seconds ahead of his next closest competition. Just kind of looking ahead, you should see about 15 laps in, the medium tires should start to fall off. We'll get to that crossover point where the hard starts to get faster.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of crucial looking at the different times, the gaps of these cars. If Squids decides to come in now, it looks like he'd be put out around behind Stashes, who is probably going to be taking those hard tires possibly all the way to the end of the race. So yeah, it's Squids is in a fairly good position right now. I like where he's at with his strategy so far.
Yeah, and while we were talking, Nada Wiabu made their way past Zhao on track, though the gap's still only 0.3 of a second, so may be in a position to be re-attacked. They should be coming just around turn 9. There they are. Rear wing flips open on the Alpha Tauri. Are they going to have a chance to make a move? Nope, they don't quite have the battery, it looks like. We've kind of
both drivers just under 20% on their battery there. Both really going at it.
Gotcha, yep. And of course, as we were saying in the earlier show, only about 9% regen if you're completely off the overtake button per lap. So to get back into a good working window, it's definitely very, very tough once you've burned that battery down.
Both drivers had a very good run out of the corner, but of course, Zhao with that DRS should be easily up ahead of him heading into turn 1. But will Nada Wiabu fight back? It doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like, yeah, those softs just have to be going off at this point as he's just struggling behind that dirty air of the car ahead of Zhao on those softer tires. So it might be time to look at heading into the pits, possibly in 16 laps on the medium tires. It's pretty optimal, especially on low fuel for him.
Yeah, still, Squids is in a very good spot. There he is. Bobby Digital, the longest soft tire runner at 9 laps, just came in and made a change. He's onto the hard tire. Should be going to the end of the race on this one. We'll see he's come out just ahead of the pack that is Chronicle, John Lemon, and Peter Ward as that fight is going around. Oh, Bobby Digital on those cold, hard tires. Makes a mistake, and that's that warm-up. Those hard tires are not going to be up to optimal grip for probably another 4 or 5 corners.
Yeah, and I think it was just unfortunate as there's this exciting battle for P6 happening, and he just got caught up in the middle of it. So just the timing of his pit stop just wasn't great as he was just being thrown right into it. And like you said, on those cold tires, he just does not stand a chance, and I think just got caught out from that.
Yeah, he does have that tire offset, though. The youngest set of tires in this battle is Chronicle, who's 3 laps old, so he's got a bit of a tire offset as Peter Ward's diving up the inside of John Lemon into turn 10, one of the action zones. It looks like he has got that move to come off. He's on the medium tire, so a little bit more grip on this one. And but the thing is, I don't think those medium tires will make the end of this race.
Yeah, it's a tall ask for Peter Ward to do it, especially when you're battling alongside. That's going to make it even more difficult when there's others around you that you're having to use up your precious tire life just to stay ahead, stay alongside them. So I think Peter Ward's kind of at a crucial moment where he's got to commit. As he sends it around Chronicle, but Chronicle's going to fight back as they're doing a fantastic job delivering for some great racing that we've seen from these guys so far this race. But yeah, just Peter Ward's got to commit to either the 2-stop and burn up these tires, or however many stops he's made this far, 4 stops. So he's got to commit to an additional stop to the end now and burn up those tires, or play it safe and let these guys go ahead and pick them up later on possibly. It's very interesting to see, and I think it's going to make it very exciting towards the end of this race.
Oh, it looks like Chronicle's made a mistake through there. John Lemon's got to run. Side by side, they're going to go through turn 9. Not an area. John Lemon smartly just kind of lifts out of that one. It could have been a very tricky run for both of them. But yeah, Peter Ward has put 2.1 seconds on this Battle of Chronicle. Of course, they cost themselves a little bit of time, but I think he just needs to pound out around on these mediums until there's about 7-8 laps left to go. Come in, grab some softs, and just put on a tear at the final end. Could pick himself up a bonus point, that fastest lap point, by being on the softs late in the race. But getting his elbows out to make the move on Chronicle through turn 2, and then clearing this group is crucial, as now Static Raider is going to start to close up on the back of Bobby Digital. He's got the DRS open. Is the Williams going to find their way past the Haas? The blinking red light, low on the battery. Haas seems to have a little more deployment on the brakes. Here we go into it. And he's gone very deep. He's completely overshot it.
Wow. Yeah, that was way late on the brakes. And man, that was something else. He had gotten the move done, but just waited too late. Squids puts in the fastest lap on his mediums now. So
still got life on those 19 laps of life, and he puts the fastest lap in. And
oh man,
I think Squids is going to earn. If Squids is able to manage tires in the lead the way he is, he might be finding himself promoted before the end of this season.
Absolutely, and he's been just so casually in control up ahead in the race and just kind of enjoying it. And again, that's something that's a luxury that Peter Ward doesn't have, is not having to fight anybody, not having any traffic around you. So that could be a reason why Squids is able to put in that fastest lap, whereas Peter Ward is going to be struggling at the end of the race, as he's been burning up some of his tire life just trying to get past Chronicle, although now he's got that gap up to 4.5 seconds now to Chronicle behind. So as Chronicle's still fighting with John Lemon and Bobby Digital, who came in and joined the fight, and of course Static Raider as well. But yeah, I guess if you're Squids, when do you plan to come on in for those soft tires?
Well, typically you're only going to get a maximum of about 10 laps of life on those soft tires, as Bobby Digital and John Lemon are scrapping away. John Lemon's made his way through. But so probably if Squids is trying to extend that medium stint, he's got to take it at least to lap 23, I would say, and come into the pit lane. Now, Stolen Valor's in a position where he may be able to just about make it his own. Chronicle and John Lemon's totally slicing it up. And that's put Bobby Digital and Static Raider right in the mix once again. So this is nothing but good news for Peter Ward. This whole pack, all on the hard tires, all similar ages, just fighting with each other, as Peter Ward's already made up a huge... Oh, and somebody's off. Somebody is off in the final chicane. That is Stashes from fourth place, has had a spin in the final chicane. Looks like he's avoided damage. Doesn't really hurt him all that much because of the gap he had. Now, that does put Nadawiabu less than 3 seconds back now, but spun from fourth place and stays in fourth place. Let's keep an eye on this battle, though, at the back. This is where the real action is happening. And, of course, it's about a 19 to 20 second pit time loss on track. So Peter Ward with a 7-second gap now, almost half of it is paid for. When they make that final stop on those fresher tires, they just got to make that one more move. Here we go. John Lemon looking on Chronicle, not close enough to make the lunge. Bobby Digital, Static Raider staying nice and in line, not making any lunges yet. Looks like Chronicle a little wrong-footed through turn 2 and 3. And that's put them on a tire line. Oh, Bobby Digital all over the back of John Lemon in the slipstream. Can he carry the momentum? Not quite into turn 4.
Well, it's been just great racing up and down the field. Well, in this battle for P7 here, and as you mentioned, Peter Ward already 7 seconds up ahead, so that's great news, as it seems like Delta Hunter has Static Raider, excuse me. So many blue teams. Static Raider, who was somebody that was in this battle for P7, he spun around there out of T5, I believe. But yeah, that's kind of relieved a little bit of pressure off of Bobby Digital's shoulders, as Stashes is spun around again.
He's still going. He has lost that position to Nadiweabu now, but just too much right foot, it seems. Twice he's gone through that final chicane and lost the back end. Let's get back to the fight here in this midfield, which is just a cracking battle.
There was some great battling going on through that final chicane there, as all the cars get a fairly decent exit through that final corner. And it's going to be Chronicle, the one that's going to be under threat here from John Lemon, but still he's got decent enough gap to not have to worry about any kind of move with that DRS help that John Lemon had.
Yeah, it looks like Bobby Digital might be the quickest of the three at the moment, unsurprisingly, with a little bit fresher. Squids is in the pits. He's finally made the move. We'll keep an eye on the tires here. We'll leave the tires open as now Peter Chronicle having to go defensive into turn 5 with John Lemon on the back, but Squids has gone onto that soft tire. He's got dropped behind Stolen Valor out in the lead. We will see where he comes out. Zhao is going to go through as well, so he's down 2 track positions. Stolen Valor not going to be able to make the end, otherwise he would have to do basically a 30-lap stint on those tires. It looks like John Lemon finally goes to the inside. Oh, and Chronicles carries the speed around the outside. Was there contact there? It looked like there might have been just a little touch, but John Lemon trying so hard, and we're in a position. Oh, and Chronicles made a mistake. He's onto the gravel and all the way to the back. John Lemon sneaks through. That's going to unleash Bobby Digital. I think that's going to put John Lemon in trouble, because I think Bobby Digital might have been the quickest of the three and was just being able to stay behind John Lemon because of that DRS train. But Bobby Digital has not gotten a very good launch out of that final corner. Chronicle has gotten a solid launch.
And it looks like Chronicle's going to be setting himself up to go for a move from way far back. Way far back! And he makes it work as there's a little bit of contact there. And oh, it did not work out that well in the end. But he set himself up, had a nice, well, a big dive bomb, I'd say. And it kind of compromised the rest of that line through that very flowy turns 2 and 3. Well, not necessarily flowy, but each corner entry and exit depending on the last. So yeah, wasn't able to get that move to work, but at least he tried, I guess.
Yep, Squid's on the soft tire now, closing up to the back of the Alpha Tauri of Zhao. About 6/10 at the line there. Might be a little too far back to make the overtaking to turn 1. Is he going to send it? Not this time. He's just playing it smart. But he's got that much younger, much stickier tire. You just have to be careful. You can't make it. Oh, and Zhao's gone wide. Now, is that an orchestrated move? No, Zhao's fighting it back. It might have been I thought it might have been a case where Zhao was going, it's not my race, I'll just not lose myself any time. But no, he was fighting it back, but just the extra grip that those soft tires have, not really a chance for Zhao to hold that off. Now, 17 seconds up the road to catch Stolen Valor. Who knows? And Stolen Valor sitting in the lead of this race with a 16-second gap. 9 laps left to go. Might be going, I'm either going to take it to the end or let these tires explode. He pits. If he pits, he's in a guaranteed podium position. It's 30 some odd seconds back to Nado Iabu. It's clean. As John Lemon's dropping down behind Static Raider. Is John Lemon in the pits?
He's headed to the pits. Yep, headed to the pits. Got a new set of softs on for himself. I guess just wanted to get out of that battle, and he's going to be on those fresh softs. Static Raider on 8-lap-old hard, so I think John Lemon should easily be able to get it as Squids, unsurprisingly, puts in the fastest lap at 1:21.0.
Now the wrinkle though there for John Lemon is he came out just behind race leader Stolen Valor. He had to lift 4 blue flags, so he may be in a situation where he's going to be hard for him to close up to the next car, even though he has these fresher tires, if he's not able to clear Stolen Valor fast enough to get out of the blue flag range.
Yeah, and these new soft tires, unfortunately John Lemon is going to have to overtake him, because Squids now has that gap down to 14 seconds to Stolen Valor ahead, when it was about 17 seconds from the start of the lap, I believe. So it was, yeah, Lemon has no other option but to overtake the race leader if he wants to get something done with those softs and actually make that pit stop actually worth something.
Yeah, we'll take a look and see what the pace is of Stolen Valor and then compare it to what Squids' pace is. Because that is Squids' pace is kind of John Lemon's ideal pace. So Stolen Valor doing 23.5s on those hard tires, and that's where, John Lemon is kind of stuck up behind. On the soft tires, Squids is coming out of the final corner now. He's crossing the line. He's doing 21.2, so 2.5, almost 2.3 seconds a lap slower is what John Lemon's having to do compared to what he could be doing on those soft tires.
Yeah, Stolen Valor 123.5 his last lap. Squids, like you said, 21.2, and it's just, yeah, it's a very unfortunate position for John Lemon right now. And I don't even think he was expecting that, to see the race leader come out near him and having to lift. So that's
Well, there's a car
unfortunate
around
for
through
him.
turns 7 and 8 is a Williams. It looks like that Static Raider
Raider.
has gone in.
Now we're coming into the final stages, the final stint of this race with 8 laps to go, if I can do my math right, as Static Raider is round again, struggling with those hard tires and overheating, I would imagine, after spinning around. But I think people are just kind of mellowed out now. The closest battle on track, it looks like, is... Oh, I
John
can't even
Lemon's
see it. I see
all
2
over
cars.
the back of Stolen Valor, so that's kind of what we're keeping. He needs to clear Stolen Valor for his race. Otherwise, he's not going to be able to start making his way into Cypher ahead, who is on a very old set of hard tires, 14 laps that they've done. And John Lemon's just losing that performance delta by having to sit behind Stolen Valor out front. Squids has already cut the gap, though, to 12 seconds.
Yes.
Squids
I'd imagine
is absolutely on the move. He does have a back marker of Business Monkey, or is that Bobby Digital, to clear. It is Business Monkey, is the other Haas. But it looks like Squids will be through there in rather short order. And
John Lemon ghosted. He gets past Stolen Valor finally, and I think Stolen Valor has committed to staying out and running these hards all the way to the end. And that's... I kind of have to agree with it. I mean, especially this late in the race, but he's going to have to... Squids, if he wants to win the race, is going to have to do basically 2 seconds quicker laps than Stolen Valor, which he has been doing. But the question is, will the softs be able to do it, knowing that Squids came in on lap 23, I believe. So on lap 10, he's going to be having to put in 2-second gap, especially when he comes up to the back of Stolen Valor. Those softs might just be going off right at the perfect time for Stolen Valor to want to have them go off, essentially, as John Lemon gets shown blue flags again.
yeah, he's managed to clear Stolen Valor, but he's not far enough ahead to not be shown the blue flags, and that's also giving Stolen Valor DRS down the main straight. So Stolen Valor getting a little extra help from John Lemon, however. Oh, and John Lemon is around!
No!
Not what you wanted to see. That is... He had an opportunity, and I think just... And honestly, that hurts Stolen Valor's race a little bit, because he could have just sat behind John Lemon as Squids is making his way through John Lemon now. 10.4 seconds is the gap. Now, as we come through turn 5 and 6 here, we'll have to see if Squids is already starting to lose the tire performance. I haven't seen him set a new fastest lap since his first flying lap on the softs, so they may be dropping off those couple tenths a lap already. We'll see how he is compared to his best at this next sector split.
Yeah,
3
looking
tenths
at
off
the
already, so he's definitely starting to lose some of that pace, and the cliff really starts to hit around 8 laps or so.
Yeah, looking at the race director, it looks like Squid's last 2 lap times have been 21.7s, whereas the fastest lap he did was a 21 flat, and then followed by a 21.2. So
Stolen Valor
he's
goes
lost
personal
half a
best,
second.
22. He's put up his best lap of the race. Squids only 21.3, so only about 7/10 of a second taken out in that last lap. It's for 9 seconds in 4 laps. It's just not enough.
We thought that Squids, with that tire advantage at the end, was going to make it work, and I guess he kind of forced himself onto that tire strategy anyways, choosing the mediums and having to go through the softs. But Stolen Valor doing an absolute miracle run. But we saw in the PC Reserve race, we saw Dr. Stark's tires go pop on him, so might we see that happen again here for Stolen Valor and see a surprise
Stolen Valor
last
was
lap
6/10. Stolen Valor was 6/10 off of his personal best in Sector 1. Now, was that a mistake, or 26 laps in, are those tires just starting to absolutely disintegrate on him? He's pretty much even through the second sector, though, so he might have been a mistake, but he's still got to take these tires a few laps more to go, and we'll just keep an eye on the lap times. And Squids is still right around that 9-second mark. Hasn't really made any ground. And Looks like Zhao is around. Zhao is around ahead of turn 9. Is Nada Weeaboo going to just sneak through right about now onto the podium positions? He is.
Squids is, oh my, yeah, wow, he's able to get that, but Squids a second and a half down on his personal best through that last lap there. It's, oh man, he's just gonna have to hope and pray for Stolen Valor's tires to pop here, and that's about the only thing that'll save him, or a spin as well from Stolen Valor would be quite nice. I think the pace difference, not enough for how many laps we have left.
Stolen Valor once again about a half a second off of their personal best in Sector 1. It seems to be that they're just, unsurprisingly, losing a bit of grip in that first sector where you really need to lean on the tires for turns 1, 2, 3, where you're putting a ton of energy into it. We'll see as how they are through Sector 2, which is much less mechanically grip dependent. And yeah, right around a half second, so they're pretty much on personal best pace through those second sectors. Squids 3/10 off of their personal best in Sector 1. Sector 2 split. They lose about 2/10, and I think that's another Alfa Romeo who's gone around and is moving once again one of either Stashes or John Lemon. Stashes and Zhao both taking those hard tires very long as well.
Yeah, it's Squids is really not making it. I think the wind has been taken out of those sails of the soft tires. It's gonna need a miracle with 2 laps left now.
Yeah, he's 1 second off of personal best through on that lap there. 7.7 seconds left to go to close up to Stolen Valor. It really is going to come down to if Stolen Valor's tires go pop or not.
And yet another interesting battle unraveling is Zhao is starting to gap Nada Weeaboo just a little bit. He might be able to get that 5-second gap that he needs. It's very hard to tell. They seem to be evenly matched in pace, and I'd imagine that both of them are just kind of waiting for last lap to really fully send it and do a full qualifying lap on those worn hards and just kind of see what happens in the end. So yeah, interesting all up and down for those final, or not the final, excuse me, all interesting for all the podium positions here with battles to watch.
Now Cypher's involved in one of the only battles that's actually on track. He's about to get lapped by Stolen Valor, though. He's right up on the back of Chronicle. Chronicle, though, it's rather academic, since Chronicle's carrying that 3-second time penalty, and Stolen Valor's got to clear through. He's going to get DRS off of this group again. That's once again going to give him that extra bit of straight line speed down Sector 1 and help him maintain that lead if those tires can stay alive. As Chronicle's just kind of pulled to the side, has lost less time than what Cypher did. I think he got out of the way much more than Cypher. Cypher's trying to unlap themselves. If they're not careful, they could end up picking up a blue flag penalty for staying in front of the race leader the way they are when Chronicle lifted off.
Yeah, and I want to say I remember in games past that John Lemon's been disqualified. Did he? He got beached as well. He got beached. So that's John Lemon disqualified.
On the side of the track there, we just went past him there and is just parked up and out of the race he goes. The 4th retirement of this session here.
Interestingly, this back and forth with the back markers for Stolen Valor, Squids has now gotten that gap down to 5 seconds. So with 2 laps left, or a lap and a half left, he might be able to, but again, he's going to have to then overtake Stolen Valor since neither of them are carrying any penalties currently.
And Nada Weeaboo's still flirting right at that 4.9, 5.0 kind of mark, so we'll keep an eye on that as the lead battle. Looks like Cypher has fallen off the back of Stolen Valor just a little bit this time. Squid's 4.8, but our race leader, Stolen Valor, coming through the chicane, about to start the final lap of this Spanish Grand Prix for PC Division 4. And we are just about going to get it in under the 2-hour time limit.
Yes, 21 minutes before that kicks in, so I don't know if there's some kind of incredible everybody's tire go popping and we struggle to get to the end, or a flash flood. I think we might just be fine here, but what a race with a lot to digest for sure. There's been a lot that has happened, and I honestly don't even remember what the starting grid was. I think Zhao was P1, but after that, the rest is a blur. So it's felt like a very long time.
It's been a long. Stolen Valor was on the front row, if I'm not mistaken. I believe Renovatio was on pole position. He had Peter Ward in P3, and there was that contact between the two to start the race.
Oh man,
Stolen Valor, those tires still there. Only a few corners left to go. It's 4.4 the gap. Nada Wiabu 4.1 behind Zhao as we're getting close to the very end here. Stolen Valor just tiptoeing his way through these last couple of corners, trying not to put too much load in it. Staying off the curbs is the wise way to do it, although he's going to go ahead and just go all over the curbs there. There's yellow flags. Squids has gone around, so that's gonna be it for this.
He's beached.
Squids is.
Oh, thank goodness he reset the track. He was beached, but he reset the track.
You can. But Stolen Valor, while that's going on, is going to cross the line and to win the first race of the season. Squids has spun again in the final chicane. He's still got some time to try and get there, but next up it is the run between Nada Wiabu and Zhao. Only 4 seconds the gap between the two as Squids is finally sneaking his way. Now, does Squids pick up a puncture or something? 10 laps on those soft tires. It's possible he got into puncture territory, but Nada Wiabu 4.5 as they get it to it. Zhao has picked up a half a second.
Final corner.
A little bit slow out of the final chicane. 4.6, 4.7 is going to be about 4.8, I think, on the line. 4.82. He is just inside the line as Nada Wiabu puts himself on the podium.
Wow. What a way to wrap up the final podium position there. Oh boy, it just never stopped. It never stopped. This race just kept on giving. Every single lap, every single corner, there was something that was going on that was worth talking about. It was Div 4. Yeah. What a way to start out Season 6. Man, oh man.
Peter Ward crossed the line to round out the top 5. Stashes comes home in 6th. Bobby Digital in 7th. But a 10th and a half the margin to get onto the podium. Nada Wiabu just inside that 5-second penalty. And Stolen Valor going very long on that first stint. or on that second stint, rather. Pitted under that safety car and just kept the tires alive the whole way.
Yeah, that was an amazing drive from him, and it surprised me. I would have myself pitted for soft tires at some point, but once it became apparent, I think like with 8 laps left to go or 7 laps left to go, it was obvious that he was going to take them to the end.
Yeah, tremendous run. Squids, we thought, was going to have the pace. He put in some astounding laps, those first few laps on those softs, but they really were just not a great race tire today. Squids was well in control of the race out in front, extending on those mediums. You have to think that if he just came in lap 16, 17, put on the hards and went the rest of the way, he's probably standing on the top step of the podium.
Yeah, but the second step is probably a good consolation prize, though. He's probably wanting that P1, and it's certainly, like you said, it looked like that he was going to have it. But man, that was something else, and it just makes me even more excited and reaffirming that Season 6 is going to be a good one. Definitely a good one.
Definitely, yeah. Tough for the retirements. Some bug issues, especially for Delta. I'm seeing Business Monkey had a lot of crashes, so hopefully some driver updates will get everything sorted out again, and we'll have a little bit more stable run next week for week 2 when we head back out to Spa-Francorchamps.
Yeah, and I don't think we saw all the full pace and qualifying from these guys, and we didn't even get to see Oba or Renovatio really do some actual running, and I think that they are some guys to look out for on the podium later on in the season. So it's going to be very exciting, and I cannot make heads or tails of it. Couldn't even make heads or tails of what the outcome of the race was going to be, and I certainly don't know what it's going to be like for the rest of the season for this division. Yeah,
and as far as Renovatio's DSQ, I did notice through the chat in the race, he did show up in there, and he said that he overtook the safety car accidentally and was going too fast past it and did not have enough time to get behind it again. So he assumed he was supposed to be passing it, even though he was the race leader and supposed to be picking it up. So unfortunate, but it seems, at least from what he's said, that it wasn't a teleporting safety car bug, which I guess is a little encouraging considering all the other bugs and things we dealt with today.
Oh yes. Yeah, that was something else, and it gave the other Haas driver, not Business Monkey, but Bobby Digital gave him driver of the day. But who would you give driver of the day from whatever this race was?
I've got to go with Nadawiabu, really storming down and getting, he closed the gap to within that 5 seconds. There was the mistake made by Zhao. He overtook him, but he lost the position, lost the 5-second gap. And, at that point, it's likely for a driver to just be like, I just don't have the pace to stay up. But he pushed and pushed and pushed and managed to close that gap back up and put themselves on the podium. So they're my driver of the day.
Yeah, and that was a very close one at the end, too. And it looked like the last final corner, it might not have been able to get it. But yeah, that was fantastic. And I think I got to give it to Stolen Valor myself, ending up on the top step for making those hards last all the way to the end and take the win. And was even having to fight some of the back markers at the end of the race as well. So yeah, it was a well-deserved victory for Stolen Valor. Surprise one too, if I'm being honest, but he deserved it at the end of the day.
Most definitely. And we've got more broadcasts, more divisions running tomorrow. So check out the FRS Motorsports, FRS Community channels. I believe we are running on both. Let me just, while I'm thinking about it, make sure I pull it up and I can tell you exactly when to show up for the races. So Sunday, 1900 UTC, same start time as we had for the PC Division 1 and Xbox Division 1 on FRS Motorsports. Should be PlayStation Division 1. Then on FRS Community, we've got Squids, near race winner. He's going to be for PC Division 3. They should be starting about 7:15 UTC PM. And then after that on FRS Motorsports is PC Division 2 at 8:30 UTC. So they'll be starting up, and hopefully PlayStation Div 1, although consoles seem to be a little bit more stable and we've had a few less overruns. But we should see the Herring Zord leading that one. So definitely some good racing still to be had to close out the first week of the season.
Yes. Oh, yes.
And you're driving in PlayStation this season, are you not?
That is correct. Possibly need to discuss more with Bonhomie and Mefawalk, as Mefawalk's led the PlayStation casting, but I know that he's been eager to get back in and driving as well. So I was happy as long as I want to put make sure everybody gets covered on one of the Twitch channels. So if he's unable to cover it, or if he wants to race, then I might not be. But yeah, was looking to be one of the only driver to win a race on every single platform. Be pretty unique, especially with crossplay coming out here soon. It'd be nice to be able to do it officially in PS only. So, but yeah, I might be racing. We'll see. But yeah, tune in tomorrow to find out, I guess.
Absolutely, and thank you everybody for joining us, and we will catch you all tomorrow. Y'all have a good night.